Open heart, open mind. Welcome to the official channel of the Sattva Project. And thank you all for joining us at this program. We are going to have wonderful dialogue for the lay Buddhist women practitioners from both East and West today. So before we start, I would like to, first of all, thank our kind sponsors, our Juran FM, Juran ASEAN stations, and also Dream Homes for their kind support. And also, I want to thank, although we are having our sisters in the Dharma to dialogue today, we do have brothers who are supporting us throughout. So I want to recognize our technical support, Brother Chong. Brother Chong, you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. Have a great show ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Chong. And also we have the other co-founder of Sattva Project, Sheriff, Brother Sheriff, who is also, helping us from behind. So today we're gonna have really, exciting dialogue, heart-to-heart dialogues among the sisters in the Dharma. So without further ado, I want to present to you first, my co-host, my co-moderator for our program today, who is the co-founder of the Sattva Project. I always like to say we have the 2 S for the Sattva Project. So let me introduce to you my sister, Sonia Gomes. So Sonia Gomes is the co-founder of the Sattva Project. She's the marketing and communication manager, founder and CEO of Spazo Zen Wellness Center in Portugal. So a very successful woman entrepreneur. And Sonia is an international advisor and founder at Lotus Heart NGO in Nepal, working on health and education for women and female empowerment. She's the international advisor in Nepal Buddhist Education and Meditation Center, which is a nonprofit organization in Nepal working in education programs for illiterate adults and children, especially women and young girls. She's also the advisor at Sankakaya Foundation in India since July 2020. She's the Portugal country director of International Youth Society since September 2020. And her major interest lies in human rights, poverty eradication, female empowerment and development, health and education, gender equity, social business, social entrepreneurship. So I want to welcome Sister Sonia Gomes.
Thank you so much, Christie, and thank you so much to all the sisters that have accepted the invitation to be present here today to talk about their work in the Dharma and their practice in the Dharma, and to share and inspire with many women. Thank you so much.
And okay, all right. So Sonia, you want to introduce me?
Of course. Obviously. So we have the honor to have with us Dr. Christie Chang. She's also a Sattva advisor, event director, and dialogue coordinator of the Sattva Project. She's also the president of International Buddhist Confederation and the president of Sakyadhita Taiwan since 2012. Also chair steering committee for International Lay Buddhist Forum, president from Sakyadhita International Association of Buddhist Women since 2019 till 2013, president East-West Center Taipei chapter of the University of Hawaii since 2015 till 2017, and Director Council on International Education Exchange, CIEE from Taipei, 2001 till 2020. So thank you, and very, very welcome, Dr. Christie Chang, wonderful moderator and advisor. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia, for the introduction. So yeah, welcome, Sonia, to also to join this dialogue. And she always said that I can just stay behind, from behind the scene. I said no, you have to, come out and then help me moderate this panel. So greetings from Taipei. Sonia is based in Portugal, so we are, yeah, we are really continents away, but it's wonderful to be together here. And today we also have 4 sisters, from different cities. And so Sonia has invited 2 sisters from the West, and I have invited 2 sisters from the East. So I would like to invite Sonia to please introduce the 2 sisters she has invited.
Yes. So let's first introduce Yumma Mudra. She's, before I say something, she's an amazing dancer, an amazing woman. I really admire her. So Yumma Mudra aka Miriam Sasbo started dancing at the age of 3 in the United States. An early career in Paris, she was 14 years old in the Ballet Russe Irina Gerbina as a soloist dancer, followed by the studies in the depth of body techniques like Qigong, Karate Shotokan, black belts, Hatha Yoga, and women's dances. Later, she graduated in contemplative psychology and created intuitive Dharma study under the tutelage of Ringo Tulku Rinpoche. A producer of cultural festivals in Portugal for Roland Music, founder of the International Danza Duende Network, and author of 2 books, she travels with Raji on the path of a methodology of breath, translucid dance. Raji and Mudra resumed the study of wisdom through dance by the term choreography.
Welcome, welcome, Yumma.
This is beautiful, Yumma.
Thank you very much, Sonia. Thank you very much, Christie. It's really a great pleasure, and it's also an honor to be among you because thanks to your invitation, Sonia, to the Sattva project, which is a very, very amazing project. I'm able to meet people that I wouldn't have met otherwise, so I'm very happy to meet you. And also, I wanted to just say a few words to start. Is that I had to think about this experience of being what you said, a woman and Buddhist and Western, and of course not educated in Buddhist context. And so I think what I'm going to really focus on today is about very personal experience, much more than about whatever could be seen as professional. And especially how important it has been for me personally that I could receive transmissions by books or by things that came to me naturally and helped me. I think actually even the Dharma saved my life. So it's so important that we can also help other people who need to get insight or signals or whatever it is that can make them find their own way to practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Yumma. So may I have Sonia to introduce our second sister?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Christie Chang. Let's introduce now the sweet Lyse Mai Lauren. Lyse was born and grew in New Zealand. Later, she studied classic flute in Australia and then lived in Nepal and India for several decades, where she had the great good fortune to study with the former Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche and Shatral Rinpoche. Deeply interested in strengthening the integration, mutual respect, kindness, and understanding within the Buddhist Sangha at large, Lyse wrote the series Shades of Awareness and maintains the blog Ever Here Now. And I must confess, I am a fan of Lyse's writings. Very, very enthusiastic fan. I really admire Lyse's work and Lyse's inspiration through practice. I must confess, I don't know Lyse in person, but since the beginning that I start to read her words, I felt deeply touched in my heart. So it's really also an honor to have Lyse in Sattva Project. Welcome, Lyse.
Lovely. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. Thank you all. And it's lovely to meet you all and to be connected with you all. As with Yumma, I'll just be speaking from quite a personal perspective, just from my own experiences that I've had in the past 30 years or so in Nepal and in India. So very happy to be with everyone. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Liz. All right, so my turn to
Yes.
introduce the sisters I have invited from the East. So we have my sister, Gloria Chang. So Gloria Chang, whose Dharma name is Sherab Droma. So we have another Sherab here, which means wisdom, actually. So Gloria is a certified Dharma translator and teacher. Actually, she just ran, out of, her class. She's been teaching for the whole day. So I really appreciate Gloria for, accepted this very rushed invitation for her to join our program. So thank you, Gloria. And so Gloria has been appointed by her guru, Khenpo Choiching Gyatso Rinpoche, to teach Tibetan yoga and meditation on emptiness since 2003. And as a prolific Dharma translator, so Gloria is very capable. She translates among actually Tibetan, Chinese, and English since 2000. So she has published more than 40 books, her translated books, either for the general public or for retreat courses. And meanwhile, Gloria is also a well-received Doha singer who performs Buddhist songs of realization in various occasions. And my secret agenda today is to have Gloria sing one of the Doha songs for us later. Not yet. Okay. All right. Gloria, you want to say a few words? Welcome.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to join this very special event, which is my first time. And first, I want to thank Christie, because it wasn't because of her, I wouldn't be able to know all you guys, brothers and sisters here. And so I just finished my whole day class of Tibetan yoga, actually. And Rinpoche call it Lu Zhong, meaning the physical exercises. So my last student just left like 10 minutes ago. So sorry for being a little rushed when we were starting our first meeting ourselves as members. But anyway, I would like to share possibly what I learned from Khenpo Chochim Gyatso Rinpoche in the past 23 years. And that is all my education, my Dharma education is all from him. From the beginning until now, I only have him as my root guru, and the other guru I have were introduced by him, actually. One is his heart son, Dzogchen Ponlo Rinpoche. And also he introduced me to His Holiness Karmapa. So three of them are my guru. Khenpo Chochim Gyatso Rinpoche is my root guru. And so today, whatever we're going to talk about or share with all the brothers and sisters here, I wish I could possibly correctly convey all the essence that was transferred to me from my root guru. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you and welcome, Gloria. Very happy that you are dedicating your very first time, your online experience to the Sattva project. So very much welcome. Yeah, wonderful. All right. So, Gloria, after Gloria, I would like to introduce Mei Jun. Sister Mai Jin. Gloria is based in Taipei, and Sister Mai Jin is based in Kuala Lumpur. Sister Quek Mai Jin. Quek is the last name, okay? In a Chinese tradition, we do family name first. So Sister Mai Jin, she graduated with an engineering degree, which is very different from all of us here, right? So we have very diverse lifestyles. So she graduated as an engineer from University Putra, Malaysia. And then in secondary school already, she was president of her school Buddhist society. And in university, she was active in inter-college varsity campus organized by BGF. BGF, by the way, stands for Buddhist Gem Fellowship, which is a very prominent elite Buddhist group in Malaysia. So after graduating from the Buddhist Institute Sunday Dharma School in Bricksville, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia is very, good with such Dharma Sunday programs for children, for adults. So Sister Hui actually graduated from the Buddhist Institute there. She then continued to serve as an EXCO member of the school and facilitated Dharma class for children. So in her 20s, she was also active in organizing, the programs on campus, university campus, under BGF, the Zen Buddhist Gem Fellowship. So Mai Jin was former BGF assistant secretary and editor for BGF Outreach newsletter for 7 years. She is currently vice principal for BGF's Buddhist education program. And Mai Jin is also a full-time working mom of 2 very cheeky kids whom she dotes on. You can see her cute little girl on the photo here, very adorable girl. She tries to lean in to work-life balance between her admin tech support job in a bank, her Buddhist volunteer activities, and her devotional tri-generational family. I think for our Western sisters, this is like perhaps impossible to think, right? Living with the parents-in-law and 2 kids and a career woman while volunteering. So we have Sister Mai Jin here joining us. Hello, Mai Jin.
Hello, hi. Thank you very much, Christie. And it's an honor to be here with so many wonderful sisters from the East and the West. And I'm from Malaysia. In Southeast Asia, you may think Malaysia is a Muslim majority country, but I have the freedom to practice as a Buddhist since birth. I am born into a Buddhist family. It's natural for me to be in this Buddhist circle doing all the Buddhist Dharma work from very young. My house, my parents' house, there's an altar. So my dad wanted to learn more about Buddhism. Why did her grandma pray so devotionally? We always live with the grandparents in the house. And my dad is not Mandarin speaking or Chinese speaking. So he went to the temple in Brickfields, which has a very famous, renowned late teacher, Dhammananda, Kesri Dhammananda, who teach in English. So my dad learned there, and there's a Sunday school there. So I learned from very young. As a little girl, I attended the Sunday school in Brickfields Temple, and I learned Buddhism from there. More on the Theravada teaching approach. As I grow older, I get to see that actually there's so many types of Buddhist teachings from different culture and different sect, like Mahayana, Theravada, and Vajrayana. Like the 3 sisters here, your background is very diverse teaching. I'm meeting to learn what is all this transmission that you're saying, which I may not be so familiar with, but it's good to know. It's good to learn, to be very. That's why I like to be involved with BGF, because BGF is also very non-sectarian in that way that we have the opportunity to learn the different type of Buddhist culture, not just one type. If you go to Sri Lankan temple, then you learn the Theravada style, or you go to a Chinese temple, you learn the chanting all in Chinese. So it's also a privilege that if you can speak both Chinese and English in Malaysia, you get to learn the scripture and the sutta in so many ways, yeah, and learn much more. Thank you very much for having me. It's my first time here.
Also your first time. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mei Jun. We are so happy to have you. I know that you have to hire a babysitter today, right? For our program.
I don't have to hire. My husband is with taking care of my 2 kids now. Yeah.
Good
Opportunity for
good
the father to bonding with the kids without mommy at all.
Great, wonderful.
Great.
So we have sisters here practicing in different traditions and living very, different lifestyles, and yet we all practice the Dharma. What a beautiful thing that we have an opportunity to in a way, it's reunion here, don't you think? Yeah. And I am, watching the private chat already, like Gloria is already chatting with Yumma because they actually also kind of like belong to the same Dharma family too, but they never met.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, Yumma, please.
I just wanted to say, Gloria, when you talked about, I saw Kenpo behind you, and you talked about Kenpo Rinpoche, and actually I'm very moved because Kenpo Rinpoche, I'm going to cry now, I'm sorry. He really, very important for me. Thank you for being here and telling that you will sing the song.
Yeah, I'm so glad to meet one of our family sister too. Actually, I'm a good friend of Ringo Drugu Rinpoche also. Yes. So when Ringo Drugu Rinpoche, when he goes to Nepal, we usually meet also. He's a great guru. I really love him.
So
okay.
So we are east and west, but it's a planet. When I say one thing, just please, my dear friend Christie, just one thing. I wrote a book lately. It's a romance, and there's a man who made the illustration, but it's a man who is a little bit anarchist, very old man now, and he's a little bit like, he doesn't like the idea that it's the rising sun, that he had to draw the rising sun because he wanted the setting sun. And I didn't know how to convince him. And then I thought, and then I said, my dear friend, he's Peter. It's okay. The sun never rises and never sets. It's always the rising sun for somebody else when it's the setting for you. And then he suddenly got yes, and so he could do the painting full-heartedly.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful story to share. Thank you, Yumma. Yeah, this is one, big family, right? And also we have our audience. I just heard that we have like over 20 at least, at our live show, and I'm sure there are more because did you share the link already so that I'm sure we have more live viewers. So we also want to make them feel included. How do we do that? We have designed 2 poll questions. Okay, so I would like to ask Brother Chong to kindly present those 2 questions. The first question is a yes or no question, and we can also discuss these questions. And later on, after our audience, vote, give their answers, we can come back to our audiences. We can discuss from also their perspectives. All right, that sounds good. All right. So the first question. Good. The first question is: Do you feel that male practitioners, male teachers or gurus in Buddhist communities are better supported than women practitioners? That's a yes/no question. All right. Brother Chong, do we have you there? Maybe you can help us by popping up those on the screen. All right. Great. And
wow.
Wow. That's 50-50. All right. The second question is a multiple choice question. All right. The second question is: what kind of support do you feel that the female practitioners would need from the Buddhist communities? And we have several answers. So I won't rush into looking the answers from our audience yet. I want to actually come back to our panelists here. I want to hear from you. Do you feel that as a woman practitioner, whether you are a teacher or not, actually all of you here are, teachers, right? In some way. Do you feel in any way that you are not as well supported as your male, friends, male Buddhist friends? Can I invite who want to say first? Okay, let's do this spontaneously. We have the answers from the second questions already. Yeah, Brother Chong, that's okay. I think we'll come back to that. I want to hear from our speakers first. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so do we have a volunteer from our panelists to answer that first question? Do you feel there's a difference in the support that you receive from the Buddhist community comparing to our brothers or our male teachers? Sonia, please.
I would like just to say something before we even start that I think is very important. That is related with this question directly. Means the point of bringing this question is bring awareness.
Yes.
It's not to create any kind of conflict, create any kind of aggression, any kind of misunderstanding. It's just to bring awareness, because if we want to talk, and I will say the word openly, if we want to talk about patriarchy, we need to do this question. So this is why the question is here. So I will, for example, Yumma, please.
Yes.
I will. Yes,
I would just make a little comment. It's a small comment, is that I personally did not feel this in the beginning of my life, because I'm quite romantic and naive. So everything I lived a little bit what I call the fully unconscious person, like children. So I just noticed years later that I thought I was a man, so that's why I never felt it. I acted as a man, but then I felt it. But it's, in my point of view, it's not particularly about Buddha Dharma only. It happens. It never happened with my masters. I never felt it with the great masters I've met. Never ever. But I did feel it in relationship to friends of mine who are Lama, for example. I felt it in relationship with good friends of mine who are really teaching Dharma. And then I felt it mostly in Tibetan iconographic, because I started to notice that the ladies were usually like very small in relationship. Like, for example, Machik Ladrön is very small in the temples. And I thought, it is strange, why is Machik Ladrön so small if she's the founder of the lineage? So thank you.
Good observation. Thank you for sharing. And Sonia, you were about to say something.
No, I was going precisely to talk about this, because we are Buddhist, we are female. The problem is not a question of female or male, or is a question of a culture. We have different cultures in the East and West. We must said this very directly. And we have a very patriarchal culture in Tibetan Buddhism, I must confess. But it's a question of culture also. Many people say, oh, this and that. No, this is cultural. We need to put things in their context, and we need to contextualize things. But we also don't need to fear to bring this question up in the 21st century. We should just ask, why, for example, do monks have more support than nuns? I would like to know. Is something I would like to have an idea. Why do yogis are maybe sometimes more sponsored than yoginis? There is something I would like to have an idea, because everything has a cause. So this is just my point. And it's a question that I think we should bring awareness and should make us think. And I'm talking about this because especially in the Tibetan Buddhism tradition, I saw huge difference between treatment between monks and nuns. So that cuts my heart, And I cannot pretend I don't see and say lasso, lasso. I'm so sorry. No lasso, lasso.
Right.
No. No lasso,
Okay,
lasso.
for Mei Jun, she probably doesn't understand what lasso means. Okay, and this you know what lasso means?
Means okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not okay. It's not
Lasso.
okay.
Okay.
Lasso, lasso.
Can I say
Okay, yeah, please, Mei
in
Jun.
the
Yes.
as a lay practitioner, because I'm not
Yeah.
associated with the sifu or the gurus very
Yes.
directly. So I believe if there's any famous nun or monk who will come to Malaysia for support, we will just support. But in a lay society, in a we can see that in a lot of Buddhist society, the president, the leadership role is a man, and a woman will be a secretary or treasurer, something like that. Even though they may be the more hardworking one to do a lot of background work to support the male leader. I think maybe because the men are very vocal and they talk very loudly, and the person that talks loudest would be okay lah. You talk so loud, then everybody listen though. So you are the president. So when women talk, they probably try to process and see whether, wow, if I become the president, I will take out a lot of my time, and they think a lot, and then not like, I mean, maybe the men, they don't think so multi-dimensional and just become the president, and then I just lead the society, whereas the women, they like to do more and think so many areas and get the things done as well. Perhaps that's my observation. Even in corporate, I'm working in a bank, right? So the CEOs and the C levels are a lot of male. It's not, I mean, it's good. I mean, the government, the country is trying to encourage more women, but I guess the women themselves, or I don't know, it's like you have so many things to consider. You have the family, you have your desire or your dream, your ambition is not as great as the man who wants to go all out and become the CEO. I don't know. Observation, perspective.
I
Speaking-
think gender roles are sort of like constructed, right? They've been imposed on us by the society and the culture. Who was it? Gloria who was speaking?
Yeah.
Yes,
Speaking
please.
of which, then that reminds me of my guru Khenpo Tsochen Gyaltsur. He's known as Ani Khenpo. The reason why is because he has like 4 monasteries. They're all nunneries. And the reason why he only has nunneries because ever since he was very young, I think younger than 8 years old, he's been going to pilgrimage trip and retreat with his mother. So his mother was a very dedicated and devoted practitioner, female practitioner, which Rinpoche had observed that how lack of Dharma resources, the female practitioners, there's just lack of all these resources. That is why he made an aspiration that he wants to support the female practitioners. So that's why he only has nuns. He only he only take nuns as his students. He has like 2 lamas, which is was his attendant. That was it. But he dedicated all his life to the education for all these nuns. And also like in the Dharma center, like lay Dharma centers, if we notice, actually nowadays, 2/3 of the members in the Dharma center worldwide are all ladies. If you notice, like in Taiwan also. But however, according to the question Christie just asked, I do feel that the female practitioners are, they get less resources, they get less support, they get even less respect.
Yes.
Even though they work just as hard or
Yeah.
even harder, and maybe they achieve the same or even higher accomplishment, but still people don't really
Appreciate.
appreciate or pay just as the same level like male practitioner. For example, take me for example, like in Taiwan, like as a Dharma practitioner, as a Dharma translator, like people will call you 老师. If you look at all the male translator, they will call you 老师, like 张老师, 老师张. 老师 means teacher.
Yeah.
But for it's like it's so strange that people will still call me Dharma sister.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what I don't understand. Like ever since I was young, I was actually like a female chauvinist. So I could not understand. I could not understand why men think they're smarter. I just could not understand ever since I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
Like this is like so bizarre to me. I don't understand. So like when people like I studied 6 years in Shidra, just like the lamas. I had to study full time with them. And then after the class, I had to work on translation. I worked just as hard. I studied just as hard. I finished 6 years of Shidra. I translated for decades. And still they call me 师姐, Dharma sister.
Yeah.
And but if you like all the other male translator, they will just call them 老师. That's what I don't understand. Even though they like the ones who call me or some female translator 师姐, they're also 师姐. They're also Dharma sisters, you know? So not to say that we don't get enough support from male practitioners. We don't even get enough support and respect from the female practitioner.
Yes.
So that's what I don't understand, actually.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are nodding. Yeah, well, I can see all of you. And then these is like, thinking.
Like I'm sorry,
Lyse.
just one more thing.
Okay, all right.
It's not
All
like
right.
we try to focus or we're so attached to the title of 老师 teacher. It's just that you can see the different levels of treatment. So I don't think this is right. Even according to the Buddha's Dharma, this is not correct. There's no equality there. Even on the relative level.
Yeah. Like Mei Jun was saying, even in the lay Buddhist groups, eventually I did see one of the Dharma sister taking the role as the president. She's not receiving, equal recognition, and she's like working to serve everyone. A male president wouldn't have to do that. That's just the gap we have there. So Sonia, you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say that I think it's very cultural also. We have really to contextualize these things and said this is really cultural, because many women, even they have opportunities, even they have same rights, many of them still think they have to serve. Sometimes I think it's quite of genetic or something. It's because it's for so many centuries that it begins to be in your, in your cells or something, like, oh, I have to serve, I have to put the tea, I have to put the coffee. Even if you are the president, I think women don't need to be afraid. They should assume their roles. It doesn't matter if it is male. If they are a CEO, they should behave as a CEO. They should assume the role as a CEO. But that implies also to take decisions, to do choices, to say no. And I think many women also, because of cultural questions, have problems in saying no, have problems in being boss, have problems in saying just do it and shut up, because we are in a culture where a man usually when sees a woman saying like this, he says, what is this? Who is this feminist? Who is this? It's because of things in our mind, they have a certain level. And since you are a little child, if you, for example, you don't share your things, like I was very surprised with the sister from Malaysia. I was delighted to hear that, saying children were spending the time with the father also because it's important while she's here giving her time to serve sisters. This is incredible. I think this is a huge example, and there is no better way to transmit teachings and things is through example. When you see something like this, it's incredible. This is really, I believe, what we need. And I would, if you don't mind, Christie, I would like to invite Lyse for
Okay.
giving us this perspective, talking about
Yes.
cultural issues and roles and having this. I would like to invite Lyse to share with us how did her Dharma practice started and how did she felt as a Western woman in Nepal and India, living in very different cultural contexts where women have such a difficult roles. I would like Lyse to share a bit of her experience with us, if possible, because
Yeah. Before Liz starts,
sure.
yeah, excuse me. I think
Sure.
I want to mention that we right now have 27 live viewers, and please, for our viewers, if you have any questions, please be part of us. Please don't hesitate to raise your questions, and I'll try to bring them up to our panelists. Okay, all right. Thank you. And then they're giving their greetings to all of us, by the way. Yeah. So this, please, the floor is yours. This.
We have Nitin, doesn't matter. Is somebody from the foundations there? Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Okay, so
yes,
I came into my path
hey, Eileen.
pretty much
as
something, and I'm hearing other people speaking. Sorry, is it okay?
Yes, please, Liz, please.
Okay. Yeah, so I had quite powerful experiences as a child that made me question our existence and the meaning of our existence. So I was very powerfully motivated on a quest for truth, and possibly due to the intensity of that motivation, quite quickly, in fact, on my first visit to India and Nepal, I met with very great masters. So His Holiness Dalai Lama, Kalu Rinpoche, Dorje Khyentse Rinpoche, a number of High Lamas. On that first trip, I realized that Dorje Khyentse Rinpoche was my heart Lama, and that I wanted to take refuge with him. I would have to mention that I never had it in my mind that I had to become a Buddhist. I also have to mention that I'm not a very religious person, but I am a very sincere seeker of truth. In whatever religious guise it may come or is revealed, that's not very important to me. What is important is the sincerity of the practitioner and the authenticity of the master. So I was extremely fortunate because Dorje Khyentse Rinpoche was unquestionably a realized master, and as was Chadra Rinpoche, who came along very soon after Dorje Khyentse passed away. So I did spend 30 plus years in Nepal and India, in the Himalayas, doing my studies with relation to gender differences in opportunity. Well, they exist even within, lay and ordained practitioners. So for a very brief moment, I did think about taking vows, but Khyentse Rinpoche sort of brushed that off, so it never came up again. And certainly Chadra Rinpoche did not give ordination as a rule. He never was very interested in that. He was very interested in his students practicing his teachings, going off into retreats and really having experience in their practice. So during all those years, of course, I encountered constantly inequalities. There were so many things that happened that if I had taken my path without that incredibly strong motivation of wanting to discover the truth of my existence, of human existence, if you like, I would certainly have not come out of it. You know, I could have easily turned my back on everything, probably more than 2 times. I could have given up. But because my central focus was always towards truth, I was able to pull myself out of those difficulties, rise up past the rejections, overlook the inequalities, and there were so many. There were just so many. I spent 10, maybe 15 years on retreat. So Chadra Rinpoche had many retreat centres, and he very, very kindly allowed me to stay near one of them in Darjeeling. During that time, I was not in robes, and I was not doing a traditional 3-year, 3-month retreat. But I was very closely under the guidance of Chadra Rinpoche throughout my entire retreat. I was very, very fortunate in that way. But because I was not in robes, because I had not shaved my head, because, you know, I was a woman living there in the forest, not only did a lot of the local people not understand what I was really doing, but it never, ever got recognition from, you know, the other practitioners that were around. For them to go into a 3-year, 3-month retreat was all about becoming a Lama. So it was a title.
Yes.
And they were very busy during that 3 years, 3 months, 3 days of their retreats. My whole focus was very, very different. And my teachers really supported me in what I wanted to do. They knew what I wanted to do. That was clear for me. Their instructions were clear. So I can't say that my experiences have been very conventional, but I've certainly seen how women in the Eastern traditions are not in any way regarded as equal. However, I didn't let that stop me, and I persevered. And very quietly, time went by, village people would be walking past the monastery, you know, coming and going on their way, and they would hear me doing my practice and singing my prayers and all that sort of thing. And I would have to say that towards the end of my retreat, village people started to turn up with offerings of milk or fresh vegetables and things that was very touching for me, because these were very small gestures. I mean, any male that would have been staying near me, or even female, ordained female, would have been receiving probably on a weekly basis donations of all kinds. So there were these kinds of discrepancies, but I really didn't take that to heart. And I think if I had, I wouldn't have been able to use that time in the best possible way. So it really required a great strength of purpose to get through that. But I loved it. And certainly the years in the retreats were the happiest years of my life. So, and you know, as a result, I've come out of it. I'm quite firm in what I do. it's not easy to be shaken. So I think that if we can, let the water run off us a little bit, particularly those of us who have had to face so much alone. And I certainly have, because there were no other women, certainly not even a Westerner, anywhere near me. I had no support whatsoever. And I also probably wouldn't have had it if I'd been somewhere else. There just wasn't a setup for Western practitioners, let alone women, to do that kind of practice in the East. I can't really say what happens in the West because I've never gone into a center in the West. So when I come back to the West, I feel quite isolated in that way. But that's fine because I simply take my practice into my day-to-day life.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. And I think
Thank you,
probably
Liz.
quite a few women have been knocked off their. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. Yeah, Yumma want to say something. Huh? Thank you, Liz.
Thank you so much, Liz.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you. And I wanted to join the conversation with all of you and answering also what I feel when Liz is speaking.
Yes.
I'm going to try to propose a base of how I'm talking. Is like I always feel that in our lives we always have really genuinely, as you say, the truth seeker. No? We have also the relative truth and the absolute truth going on at the same time. So on one level, this relative thing makes it, like you're polishing a stone so it becomes soft. All these problems we have, we get polished. Maybe eventually. And on the other side, the absolute, all of this doesn't exist really deeply. Like deeply, I don't feel I'm a woman or a man in the deepest, but my body, of course, is an instrument, and the instrument for living, the instrument that makes me perceive and makes me also give back something of how I perceive the life. And what, in my experience, I'm not talking about Buddhism, I'm talking about even my mother was beaten by her husband. Actually, my father had about almost 30 children in the world with different women. So I was not raised with my father. And my mother also married a man who beated her in front of me all the time. So I have a little bit of a history. And later on, also, it happened to me and to my sister. But what happened for me with Dharma, I met Dharma, I was 15 years old, but actually smaller already. I was looking for this, seeking for something that I felt I was born to find, that something mysterious. I don't know what that is, And actually, I would dance to feel that reality, that absolute. So each time I would dance, I would be joyful, even though things are not that joyful. I was always feeling joy inside of me. And later on, as you said, retreat is the happiest place for me. It has been also the same thing. Retreat is very happy place. But the practice brings out this natural happiness, of the nature of mind and the nature of nature, And I learned in the teaching something I thought was really interesting and that really touched me deeply, because I think it's true. And it doesn't take away anything we have been saying, because it's true that the respect, I like when you talk to Gloria about respect, The respect is important. We should even respect the dogs and the cats and the animals. We shouldn't mistreat animals as we do. It doesn't make any sense. We mistreat everything that is about life, It doesn't make sense, And I learned that everybody is the teacher. So the guru yoga is, of course, it's your master, because the master gives you this mirror, the mirror of wisdom and the mirror also of yourself, But then you start to understand that everybody has been a teacher, and slowly, even the worst thing that happened to you was the guru. Guru as, I like to see the guru as not this thing that now we say guru is bad and this and that. I think the guru is something that is our guide on the path that we are born with it, but maybe we don't find it, maybe we do, you know. And it's not a man or woman, it's the string of samaya, you know, the string that you're faithful to something inside of yourself that is really important. You know, it's not something that goes away in difficult times when you're sick, or goes away when you have a problem. It's something that, and so even this bad thing happening, to see my mother mistreated and being mistreated myself, and all kinds of problem I could have because I'm a woman, and I don't saying it's right, but actually Dharma, what is really positive for me about Buddha Dharma is that I received the tools that make me able to live all of this as the path. And I think we women also need to say that, because otherwise men are going to think that we're complaining. We're not complaining. We're just trying to, I think, to open a bridge that there's nothing like somebody that is not respecting somebody else. And actually, Sonia, I love to serve people. I can serve you, and I can serve a man too, because I like, when I love the man that I live with him, I serve him. And actually, in that case, nowadays, he's wonderful. So he also serves me. And this makes life much easier, even if you don't have much money, even if you, like now, I'm so cold here, you know, it's okay. Yeah, excuse me, I get enthusiastic. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Yumma. Yeah, just a quick update. So the result of our first poll question: do you think female practitioners, including teachers and gurus in Buddhist communities, receive equal supports as male practitioners? That one question. Now, the answer, the no, they are not receiving equal treatment, is 67%. And yes, there's 33% still thinking that it's equal. But in any case, the good news is that we have over 30 live viewers now. It's great. We are attracting more and more viewers to join us. So great job. Thank you all. And in terms of the second poll questions, right now, what kind of support do you think that female practitioners need from the Buddhist communities? There, I saw that all the above, 83. So all the supports that, we female practitioners would need, 83%. And then the least percentage received is physical and emotional support. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Just for you to think about it. And we also have, in addition to many viewers, saying sadhu and, giving us very warm greetings, we also have some questions. I think this is an interesting question. Maybe I can pose here. This is Julio, who says that the Buddha is beyond differences. There's no gender or inherent essence. The gates of the deathless are open. The possible limitations of women is cultural and social, which is true, right? It's key that the Dharma is applied to society and Buddhist monasticism. And then Julio goes on to say it's a contradiction, though, that women are prevented from full monastic ordination as men receive. This will change. It's inevitable. So, we are all lay Buddhist women here. And this is a question about full ordination for women. Do you feel that the fact that there's no full ordination for women in only Theravada and Tibetan traditions right now? For example, the tradition in the Mahayana Chinese tradition, I'm a totally non-sectarian, but I did start being a Buddhist as a Mahayana Chinese traditional Buddhist. We do have bhikshunis, the fully ordained nuns. And there seems to, it seems that the bhikshunis still receive more recognition if there's a bhikshuni lineage. Whereas in the Theravada and Tibetan traditions, there's no such, ordination available. Do you think that has somehow stopped you from wanting to become ordained in a way? That would be my question for you, following Julio's point. Yes, Yumma.
I'm sorry, my answer is very funny, but I really assure you it's true. I thought if I would be ordained, I would be a monk. I never thought I would be a nun. And when I realized I would be a nun, I thought that maybe it's not my next time.
So it is, an obstacle, right? Without the full.
And not an obstacle. It's just
Okay.
an expression of what you said. Is that
Okay.
in my imagination, I saw myself as a man. Actually, I just noticed later that if I would be a monk, I would be a monk.
Then yes.
I thought, no, you would not be a monk. You would be a nun. And then,
Yeah.
so anyway, I didn't even try because I thought it's okay to be, how you say, yogini. I like better actually to practice as a free yogini, and I relate to whatever comes up. So I could not be a nun anyway. So
Yeah.
that's the first thought was, oh, I would be a monk. I never thought, oh, I would be a nun.
Okay. All right. Good. Anyone else want to say something? Yes, Gloria, please.
Yeah, actually, that actually stopped me from being a nun because I wanted to be a nun. Like I left my family for, this Dharma career, my two sons and my ex-husband. So I wanted to become a nun, but at that time, Khenpo Rinpoche didn't want me to become a nun. After years later, I'm living in the monastery with monks and nuns. Then I changed my mind. I don't want to be a nun anymore. And just when I wanted, when I stopped wanting to become a nun, then Rinpoche told me to become a nun. I couldn't believe it. He actually told me to shave my hair and become a nun. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, Rinpoche. Over these more than 20 years of following you, I probably haven't said no to you like more than 5 times, but this one I have to pass. So it stopped me from becoming a nun. So
very interesting sharing. Thank you.
Super.
Yeah.
Super.
Anyone else? Yes, Mei Jun.
It's very far idea, but it does cross my mind if I want to be to renounce. And in Malaysia, since there's so many culture, I am exposed to Theravada, Mahayana, and the Vajrayana. I don't really see very famous nun in the Vajrayana tradition, so I'm not sure about that. But I remember Tuktum Chodron is a nun, very famous. So and there's also Ajahn Brahm in Perth who have nunneries there because they speak English, and I'm more familiar with English. But I'm also attracted to the Mahayanese Chinese nun, where they are more action oriented and they do more work, because I see sometimes in Theravada you do a lot of meditation and self practice. So my personality is more on social work and helping and doing things. So perhaps Chinese nun, but then my Chinese is a bit bad, so I have to learn that part as well.
Okay, thank you, Mei Jun. Yes. Sonia, please.
No, sister was mentioned something. Mei Jun, she was mentioned something about in the Tibetan traditions and the nuns. We have a great example of active nun in Tibetan tradition, that is Chetsoma Tenzing Palmo.
Yes.
So I want to bring her here and give my deepest gratitude to her work for inspiring nuns, inspiring women, not only nuns, but particular women in a general view. But she's a nun. And I can never forget that Tenzing Palmo, she stayed 13 years in retreat. She was very diligent. Sometimes when Lyse was talking about her way, I was thinking about Jetsun Ma, a very different approach, because Jetsun Ma, she wanted to be a nun and she stayed in retreat for 13 years. Also, many people find that very strange, how a Western women have this kind of approach. But it's really incredible, because I think the same thing motivate these wonderful ladies. It was devotion. So I think devotion is something really very important. Also, Gloria, she was mentioned to be a nun or not to be a nun. I think it has to do with devotion. When you feel that deep devotion to follow a certain path, then you can renounce, and you feel you can go to the monastic. I don't know, because I must confess, I love nuns, but I never consider myself to be a nun. I cannot imagine myself as a nun. As Yumma said, I relate with everything, so it's impossible for me to be a nun. But I really admire deeply
Yes.
women that engage, like Tenzin Palmo and many other nuns, like Pema Chodron, so many other nuns that have so deep devotion and renounce everything and give such a amount of inspiration. I wish I could have just 1/3 of that inspiration, but I could never be a nun, because I don't have, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I'm kind of wild, so it's quite difficult. I was delighted. I would love to hear about, our sisters, about how they start in the Dharma, what motivates them,
Yeah.
because they born in the East, so it's very different. They born in the culture where Dharma is accessible. So it was interesting to see that we heard already the Western ladies full of devotion that went to the East, or that have the Eastern approach, and now it would be nice to. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Wonderful. Yeah, I think, well, maybe Mei Jin is the only one so far as I know, who was born a Buddhist, who grew up, as a Buddhist. Gloria became a Buddhist later on in her life course, but Mei Jin actually was born as a Buddhist. I actually became a Buddhist in Hawaii, not in Taiwan. So that's another story. But Mei Jin, maybe we start from, Mei Jin, hearing her experience in the East.
Okay. It's because I'm a born Buddhist, I didn't really thought of choosing. But when I go to school, being in a urban city, so most people speak English, and they have a misconception in school. If you speak in university, local university, they may think that you will speak English, you are Christian. There's a lot of Christians as well as Buddhists, but the Buddhists can be once a year Buddhists, they don't really know the Dharma that well type of Buddhists. And when I'm in uni, there's a lot of Chinese speaking fellow friends in the university, and they are from all over Malaysia, and they are Chinese speaking. And most of the Chinese speaking, they are Mahayana Buddhists. So I found out that, actually the majority of Buddhists in Malaysia is more from the Mahayana sect as compared to the city where I'm from, where the Theravada English speaking is the minority, and it's easy for me to access to the religion, because we are not governed by the religious police in Malaysia that say that, especially for the Muslim, they cannot choose what they want. But for us as lay non-Muslim, you get the opportunity to research for yourself what are the teachers, who are the teachers, and all the resources you have to find out for yourself, because there's so many variety. Malaysia, truly Asia. You get Indians,
Yes.
you get Hinduism, you get in Buddhism, you have the Mahayana, the Chinese and the English-speaking Theravada from Sri Lanka, from Thailand, from Burma. And you can see monks, especially for friends who are not Buddhist, they will be very confused. Oh, Mei Jin, you're Buddhist. So why the monks sometimes got brown color robe, orange color robe, sometimes can see shoulder, some cannot see shoulder. It's like all the cultures you can find in Malaysia. So I'm also very fascinated by how the Tibetan Buddhist disciples who can devote their practice so spiritually in a forest or in a cave. It just didn't cross my mind how this can happen in Malaysia, because we don't really have cave to sit. So we have a lot of Buddhist centers everywhere, and even Chinese temples that people mistaken it as Buddhist, especially for the Christian, they may think it's all Buddhist, but they are Taoist. There's a lot of Chinese Taoist temple that they pray to the deities, the different deities, and sometimes and Chinese culture we can, like in my parents' house, there's the Guan Yin, the Zai Gong, and all the different deities, and the Sakyamuni Buddha in the middle. So we are like very practical type of Buddhist in that sense. But I'm slowly learning the awareness and mindfulness practice with some of our BGF meditation practitioner who teach me and how to be aware on my daily life. And that's one big part of Buddhist practice, to be aware and have mindfulness. You know, this mindfulness thing, some even try to be the mindfulness coach in the corporate, where it's quite a thing now. So it's just different culture for me. It's a wild idea for me to imagine how the reverend, the nuns that Sonia has mentioned, where they can really sacrifice their time and their life and go to India and devote their entire life there.
Yes.
I have to feed my family. I need to work. It would be so happy for me that I can get 3 days off just to go for a retreat. The next, maybe I can apply for 1 week retreat. Like Ajahn Brahm, they always have a year-end 1 week retreat, which I couldn't find the time to go. Year-end in the bank, I just can't take off the days. But if there's a weekend retreat, Friday to Sunday, I just go and sit at my friend's house. She's very kind to lend me her house to be alone by myself. That's my practice. I'm happy with that.
Oh, that's good. I think our second poll question, what kind of support do you need? Meijin also answered to that, right? Retreat, support for my retreat. Come and help me to make sure I get my retreat, right?
Yes.
Good. Wonderful. Yeah, Gloria, we can come back to that second question, poll question later. Gloria, please share your experience with us.
Yeah, I just want to share this one story with Khenpo Rinpoche. One of the reasons why later I don't want to become a nun. I mean, first reason is because all these vows and this administration system in the monastery, which because I have like lived in the monastery for so many years, so you see all these limitations that actually it puts a limit of what you can do for Dharma work to benefit others. So that's one of the reasons why I chose not to become a nun, because I see the limitation of what I can do. Second one is that one time when Khenpo Rinpoche was giving us retreat in Taiwan, retreat course. And then there's this one nunnery right next to the resort that we're having retreat. So he took us there. And then right there, he asked the abbot to get a pair of scissors. Then he asked all the girls, our Dharma sisters, and say, now who wants to be ordained to be a nun? Come out.
Okay, so I'm ready to cut your hair.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah, right here, right now, I will ordain you. So then one Dharma sister approached to Khenpo Rinpoche. Khenpo Rinpoche grabbed the scissors and grabbed her hair, just about to cut. Then he stopped. Then he said, in my lineage, even if you keep your long hair, you can attain enlightenment. So that was very inspiring to me. Yeah. Like with Dharma, no matter if you are a nun or, not a nun, a monk or not a monk, you can attain enlightenment if you practice in the correct way, and if you devote yourself, if you devote your time, your life, your energy, and you learn it correctly, you can attain Buddhahood, no matter what you are. So that's what I learned from Khenpo Rinpoche. That's also one of the reasons why I decided it's not that necessary to become a nun, although later he had asked me to become a nun. However, after I rejected him, and then I realized something was happening in Gamagaji lineage. His Holiness Karmapa started to revive the Bhikshuni vows in Gamagaji lineage. So I thought, wow, Rinpoche really has some vision. Because he's just, he doesn't have WeChat or Facebook to see all these news. I mean, his Facebook is right here, right? You can see everywhere.
Yeah, well, yes, that's true. His Holiness the Karmapa is trying to revive the Bhikshuni lineage for the Kamakaju traditions, which is great news, and maybe it's a matter of time. But what we are doing here is also very important to raise the awareness. I think more and more people need to know, and also need to offer that support, right? So in terms of support, back to our second poll question, as I mentioned to you that people, many of our viewers say that all the above, but from your perspective, just now Meijun said like retreat, okay, and Gloria, Yumma, Lyse, or Sonia, what kind of support do you think practicing as a lay Buddhist woman needs most from the general Buddhist community?
I think one of the first points is the correspondent amount of respect for being a lay practitioner. This is one point. We should not really request that. It should be just usual, but unfortunately it's not. So I think the normal amount of respect, and not the question of the titles, because as Sister Gloria was mentioned, because it's a woman, I will not call this title because we are in the 21st century. We need to contextualize things. So this is maybe for another debate in Sattva about the need to contextualize the teachings to the contemporary times and society, because many things, are totally out of context and many people take advantage of that. So also we need to mention this very properly. And I think what we really need as lay women to practice is the recognizing that it's not a question of being women or men. We have the same potential. We just need the same recognition, so we can have time for ourselves, as Sister was mentioned, to go to retreats, because we have really hard work. I used to say, when we are mothers, having business, managing families, houses and business, and give teachings or classes or this or that, can you imagine what happened in a day? So many chances to practice and to put the teachings in practice. So I think what we need is support. Recognition from other women, from lay practitioners, of what we do, that it's not only sitting and chanting or doing prayers or puja that is practiced. We practice in daily life by our example, inspiring others, many things.
Yes.
A lay practitioner can practice in many, many aspects and needs to deal with the wildness of the samsara.
Yeah.
So it's not easy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Right.
So we need the same amount of respect and recognition that we are in the same level. We are practitioners.
Good point.
With different abilities, we need different kind of teachings, different kind of teachers. It doesn't matter the lineage. We all are followers of Buddha.
Yes.
With the same goal. So
sure.
We just need the same recognition, I guess.
Thank you, Sonia. Yumma has something to say. Yes.
Yes, I would like to add to what has been said, that I think nowadays we're entering into a new times that maybe even these issues are not going to be that important. maybe because we're really going to need to make life possible and good for everybody on earth, I think. But anyway, what we really need, in my point of view, is good transmission, good information, real Dharma, that we can then be alone with that wherever it is we are. If we have 5 children, no children, we are a bhikkhuni, not a bhikkhuni, we're a man, or we need good instruction. But as a woman, there is a few things that maybe needs to be more into date. Like, I give you a little example. It's a very, very simple example. And excuse me if I will talk openly about physical issues. Like, for example, if you practice a very long time, like a lot of people are learning meditation wherever it is, supposedly maybe it's Buddhist, maybe it's not that much Buddhist, but they're learning meditation. No, even people are like teachers of meditation, even though maybe they don't have the full experience of that. And the lady, when she does this posture a lot of hours and not moving and opening legs, actually, if she doesn't activate her pelvis and she doesn't use the muscles, the muscles will weaken and go down. So this is something that usually wouldn't happen if she would do the boom, but lots of women don't even know about it, you know. So this is small things that maybe we think it's not important, but it's very important, because whoever has her organs going down is in a very deep problem, no? Isn't it? And also for the energy, because the energy has to circulate in the body. And if that person didn't receive the proper instructions, this is something that is a female issue because of the female body. But on a deeper level, I really think it's important that we, in my point of view, of course, realize how much the challenge is for all of us nowadays, and that we really are going to help each other, and that we women are very strong. We are so strong. We're not weak at all. We have never been. So this is, like, technical thing is important. Like, if I wouldn't have met people and books, as I said in the beginning now, that would give me really proper instruction, I think I would not have been able to live, because for me it was not interesting, you know. It doesn't make sense. When I was a child and I would see all these things going on, and I started to understand that, I would ask my mother, actually I asked her, like, people are always being born, being dead. And then I said, but so are we always the same people? I remember. And she was like, what is this child saying? Because she's not Buddhist at all, you know. And she didn't know what to answer. And then people make wars. Why would they kill people? Why would they kill families? Why would they? And so it was impossible to live in this world without Dharma, not only because of spirituality, because of course Christianity or Jewish or Muslim, they all have spirituality and it's all valuable. But I needed really proper tools, because I would say, yes, Jesus said, love each other. Okay, I do love each other. I love everybody. But why is it we always have these problems? You know? Very small. I was like 8 years old. Why do they beat? Why do they do that? Why am I not? Why is my behavior not the behavior I feel? Why am I behaving different from what I feel? And I would be every night crying when I was a child. That my behavior was not the behavior I wanted to perform. I wanted to be nice and generous, and then I would do things that I wouldn't feel appropriate. I would see it's not appropriate, but I didn't know how to do that. How can I change that? And then you receive the instructions, and then you're free. You can do it. You can work on it. And it doesn't matter if it takes you 10 years, 20 years, who cares? No? You just work on it. And this proper instruction, I think we all need. It's not only women. We really need it. Yeah. And we need maybe to be open about talking about what is Dharma? What is it? I understand that we're women, we have issues, there's inequalities. I'm not sure it's going to be the main problem nowadays. I think the problem is really that women are the symbolism outwards of unbalanced something inwards of all of us. This non-respect to a woman would be a non-respect of all humankind to a part of ourselves that is the balance, like what we call yin and yang, or we would call the red and the white, or however you make the symbol of duality. What is the third? What is the middle path of these two? But if we focus too much, in my point of view, of fighting against inequality, we're fighting.
Yeah. So like Sonia was saying in the very beginning, it's not about fighting.
No.
Or anything. Yeah, we have one really beautiful comments from one of our viewers here. It's Paulo Rangel. Let me read out to all of you. Robes or vows shouldn't be the only reason why people respect women in the Dharma. I would rather, respect. Pay them. I would rather that their respect came from the fact that they have listened and talked the Dharma, and that it's been useful for all beings. Giving women equal place in the Dharma is a really important way to honor its depth. Women bring qualities such as kindness and flexibility, connection and practicality. So I think that's wonderful, sharing. Thank you, Paulo Rangel. Yeah. And also, Rinchen Pauldron, okay?
Yes.
He needs to say, I would really appreciate retreats at home, which includes family life. Thank you all. Much love. Actually, right after Sister Mei Jun shared, our brother Chong was also sharing his views about how these days during the pandemic, because he's working from home, but then he's also trying to help the Buddhist communities in Malaysia for their online meeting, including online retreat, which is really wonderful service. So that's great. Yeah. So thank you, Brother Chong, for also helping us again. Yeah. Without you, we
no way.
would be lost.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. So any of our sisters here wanna continue to share? Yes, Gloria, please.
So Christie's question is what a lay female practitioner need, what kind of support?
Yeah, yes.
According to my and Mei Jun's experience, we really need babysitters.
Okay.
Really,
yes.
that is true. That is one of the reasons why I left my family, because my ex-husband, he would support me to go on vacation with my friends, but for some reason he didn't want to support me for Dharma practices. So that's that very practical. We need babysitters, and actually, like I was talking about at the beginning, I was talking about in Taiwan, like maybe some of the Dharma brothers or sisters, they refuse to call you like teacher; they just call you Dharma sister. But actually, I was not quite fair yet in that conversation.
Okay.
Actually, in Taiwan, I think we have pretty equal respect. I would say 50-50, because actually among my own students, which I have about more than 100, but about 60 of them are like stable in my classes. And a lot of them are women, like more women than men, of course. But I have a lot of like male students also, maybe like half and half. So actually those who are really practicing Dharma, they don't have gender issue at all. So I have all these male students coming to the class learning from a female teacher. So actually in Taiwan, we have pretty good situation, I would say, regarding of that. So we really need babysitters. And I have this a couple of students, husband and wife, they would take turn to come to my class. So one will watch their daughter while the other came to the class. So I thought, well, that's really good. I would really rejoice in their support to each other. And then we need this. I remember one of my arguments with my ex-husband is he wouldn't let me. He wouldn't pay for me to go on a retreat course with Khenpo Rinpoche. I really got upset. Then I say, even a full-time butler, has such this amount of salary. And then he was really pissed off. He said something really ugly. Then that's when I decided, I should leave. So this is also a really practical, needs that we
financial support.
Yes, financial support. We need babysitters. It would be good that like that student, the couple students of mine, they support each other to learn Dharma. This is wonderful.
That's an ideal situation.
That's an ideal situation. Yes.
Yeah. So I will say some good words to Sister Madron's husband, Mani, brother Mani, since I know him too. Good job, Mani. Keep going.
Yeah, but I would like to add on, it's so natural for the mother to assume the role of babysitting the kids, and the guy go for his Dharma work. Don't you say good job, mommy, for babysitting it. It's like, I have to really remind him, okay, this time 5 to 7, it's your turn now. It's like reminding him so many times.
Okay, again, I think awareness, and the power of having a understanding community should also help. And back to what we were talking about. Do you want to stay a slave or you want to go for ordination? And since Sonia also mentioned Jatsuma, what Jatsuma was saying, she always emphasizes it's very important to recognize the lay Buddhist women, how hard they've been working. And, after all, the Buddha has set up a fourfold Sangha. The Buddha didn't just set up the monastic community. The Buddha also, want to recognize the lay community and then how the fourfold Sangha actually can work together, right? Sonia, you want to say something?
Yeah, I would, in related to this with the supporting of financially, for example, I would like to ask Lyse how she managed this situation when she was living and going in India and Nepal in her retreats, how it was possible for you, Lyse.
Yeah.
We would like to hear about that too, because it's very important to understand that reality also. How did you manage to support yourself living in India and Nepal and doing retreat and being by yourself alone, dealing with all the situation financially, emotionally, not being accepted by the communities and the culture because you were Western? What are you doing there?
Yeah, Lyse mentioned they only came to you at the end of your retreat, right? So how did you manage that?
Yes.
Yeah, please, Lyse.
Well, I did have a 1 year sponsorship from the Kenzie Foundation. Okay. But pretty much through the whole 30 years, although I did stay for blocks of years at a time in my retreat, there were certainly times when I came back to Australia, I worked. So initially I trained as a flute teacher, but then it wasn't possible to keep students, and then go away and be away for extended period of time and come back and have those same students. I couldn't, after a few years that fell away. It wasn't possible. So I started looking after children, babysitting. I did babysitting, all sorts of jobs, yes. I mean, I would come back to the West with a figure in my mind of, okay, I need to have this much money and then I can, stay for the next number of however. And I would work until I achieved that goal. And I usually did that reasonably quickly. I was very fortunate in that way. And 1 or 2 friends helped me along the way, gave me places to stay and at, reduced rates and things like that. So for those kindnesses along the way. I'm extremely grateful. But apart from that one year scholarship, sponsorship, I really had no support whatsoever outside of my own motivation to keep going and to make it work. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing, because this is one big point. Many people, many lay practitioners that go to retreat and stay long periods in retreat, what they do is coming back to the West and work and then raise the money and go back to the East. And there is, I would like also to know, for example, how our sisters in the East manage that, because this usually happens with Westerns. They go Asia, then go back to West to work, then go back again and stay there. But what happens with Asian women? They come to the West and then they go to work to the East and then they come back. This is something important.
No, we just directly left our husband. No, I'm just joking.
So how did you manage? Gloria, you've been traveling.
A joke. It is true.
Yeah, monastics. Yeah, you've been living with the monastics, and then you've been traveling. Who supported that, for example? Yeah, or you have to,
For me, actually my case is not as usual like the regular lady practitioners, because I was appointed to be the translator and was educated and supported by my guru, actually. Like he provided me some scholarship to study in Shidra, like that. And then also at the same time, I was teaching English and doing some mundane translation work before I started my Shidra studies. Like I start with studying with Khenpo Rinpoche. He gave me full-time training, actually. And then at one point, he told me to start learning Tibetan so I can start translating from Tibetan. I was translating from English, actually. And then at that time, he actually provided me some partial scholarship. And then also I was doing Dharma work, Dharma translation. So that's how I got my financial support. Although that if you have been a Dharma translator like Christie,
like
if you translate 200 pages of Dharma book, same amount of time and energy, you can probably translate 3 books of Harry Potter. But you get about the same pay. So that was very difficult. Anyway, my financial resources like that. So that's why I say for lay practitioner, lay female practitioner, they really need financial support from their family. Yeah, because that's one of the main reason why I left my family, because I couldn't get support from my ex-husband. So I had to decide if I want to continue my Dharma learning, my Dharma work, or I just compromise with him.
So maybe the sisters and brothers in the Buddhist communities can also consider supporting full-time lay Buddhist woman practitioners as well. Yumma.
Yes, just I remind, when you're talking, Gloria, I remind the stories of women. I've studied the stories of Yeshe Tsogyal, Wachik Ladrön, or many ladies of great practitioners of the Dharma, and most of them all didn't want to marry. They were forced to marry, or they left their husband. So, what you say, and Wachik Ladrön is very nice in one of the versions of the book when she tells her husband, the Dakini, she made that dream, and the Dakini told her to go, and the husband said, okay, go. And then she comes back years later and he asked, how was your practice? And she said, yes, how are the children? So it's something that has always been no, of our need to. Actually, I think I don't know. I'm not sure about this, but I think maybe that's one of the reasons why the Lord Buddha wouldn't accept the woman in the beginning. I'm not sure. Of course, this is my own intuition, but maybe it was such a great revelation that he could admit in the Sangha people that were untouchable together with princes, and they would walk barefoot, and all these people together. But women, they would become, at that time, when they would become a nun, they would be free. So it's the opposite of what we think now.
Yeah.
Nun would be being free of that family schedule that you have to fit on since you're a child. Suddenly, when the lady in India becomes a bhikkhuni, she doesn't have to marry anymore.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to have children anymore. And so it's actually a freedom path for at that time in that context.
Yeah.
So this is something that is very, how you say, interesting.
Yeah, thank you, Yumma, for mentioning that. Yeah, actually, that reminds me of back in the 80s in Taiwan. That's exactly one of the reasons why so many young women, college graduate women, chose to become nuns because they didn't want to get married. And in an Asian society, if you don't choose a marriage life, where do you go? If you stay celibate, then you'll have pressure from all directions. So one of the reasons why they chose that, monastic life is, to be freed from that, other choices. And that has contributed to the fact that, in Taiwan, we have so many bhikshunis, and the booming of Buddhism in Taiwan, so many capable, well-educated bhikshunis joining to serve the society and to help all sentient beings. So, I want to also recognize, one of our viewers, Yumma, for raising question. Actually, she's giving also some resources, sharing, about mindfulness retreat at home with family. So thank you all, our viewers, for asking questions, giving comments, or sharing resources. This is exactly what we want for the Sattva project, to offer this as a platform where everybody can join to interact. And time has, gone so fast. Yeah, and it's about wrap up time. I would like to invite our panelists to, just to give a few words to summarize or to wrap up, or anything to add to the program. Yes, Mai Chen.
Yeah, I wanted to add that there's a comment by Vincent on, I would like to appreciate retreats at home, which include family life. And this is the point that I wanted to raise, which is I cannot go off long retreats in the West or the East. And about money, it's not very expensive if you go to Thailand or Burma, where they have short retreat program, maybe maximum 1 month, 10 days. So yeah, if it's an ideal, if there's no pandemic now and I can find a short time when my kids are older, I can go for those holiday retreats as well. But meanwhile, in Malaysia, there's a lot of resources and opportunity for us to practice short retreats, week or 3 days. For now, it's online, Chinese or English speaking. Yeah. So and my point is to practice the mindfulness, practicing in my lay person life, not as a in part of my work, family, in my social work, and applying the mindfulness and the Buddha's teachings in this samsara life. Yeah, without being out of this body that I am, just right here, right now, and applying the Dharma teachings here.
Yeah. Thank you. Very important point to add. Thank you, Mai Chen, for sharing. Yes. So how about Yumma? You want to conclude?
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I think this was like, what do you say when you appetit? You know, the first thing you think you take before you go on the meal. So I will be very
Yes,
happy to meet again, and maybe
lovely.
to enter in topics that are really about the Dharma itself, which are
Mhm.
very important.
Great.
I would like to share things about how we practice Dharma in the core of what it is to practice Dharma as a woman physically and things like that. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes.
And may
Yeah.
you all be very healthy and very joyful, even if it's a little bit difficult sometimes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Great.
you.
This
Thank you so
very
much.
first
Thank you.
episode, yeah, like it's like a good appetizer to start a series of dialogues among sisters in the Dharma. Wonderful. So may I also invite Lyse to conclude your share?
Yeah. I think ultimately each of us just needs to check our motivation. You know, why we're following our path, and you know, samsara's going on around us in all of our lives, and it's always going to throw up challenges. So we have to be strong and continue on. And I think we're definitely coming into changing times, and slowly but surely we will see those changes in all levels of practice. So yeah, just keep on with what we're doing in our different ways as lay women practitioners, because we're all in very different circumstances. So we have the strength of the Buddha's teachings to guide and support us ultimately. And
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
Thank you
Liz.
so much, Liz. Thank you so much for your
Thank you
kindness.
for
Thank you.
thank you for sharing your courage. It's been so inspiring, so encouraging. You know,
Yes.
we are all benefiting a lot from your sharing too. Thank you, Liz. Yeah. All right, Sonia, you next.
Yes.
Let's conclude.
Yes, first I want to thank all the friends that accept the invitation to be present here, these beautiful women, to inspire other women that are listening to us, lay practitioners, nuns, doesn't matter, because we need to work together for the same purpose. But it's important for women to realize that we have women in the Dharma that have huge difficulties to practice, but they didn't have that as an obstacle. They found it a deep
Yes.
inspiration, in fact. So
Yes.
this is the main point and something that I really want to bring here. Other thing I will take this chance is, since we are going to finish this program, please send us emails, whatever you want to share, suggestions about programs, about questions for Sisters in the Dharma, because we want to communicate with you as women, as lay practitioner, but also as monastic. We want to open, this is dialogue for open, everybody. It doesn't exclude nobody. We just want to bring the awareness for the importance of lay practitioners, but also it's very important to bring all together. So I just want to say I'm very grateful. I want to take this opportunity to dedicate the merits, if there are any, of this program to my great teachers, Delgo Khyentse Rinpoche, Shato Rinpoche, and all the great masters from the past, previous, and future, and and to the Dharma itself. May it always be present in our lives. And thank you so much for the opportunity and for your kindness and generosity in giving your time to this, to all the sisters here and all the sisters and brothers that are listening to us at home, wherever. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you, Sonia, for having co-founded the Sattva project together with Sheriff, you know, our brother Sheriff. Yeah, thanks to both of
Yin
you.
Yang.
Yin and Yang, that's great combination. All right, thank you. So I'm saving Gloria as the last one to conclude, because we want Gloria to sing us a Doha song at the end. Also, as a way to dedicate, you know, all the merits to our teachers, great teachers, all our woman teachers, male teachers, and Buddha,
Whatever.
Yeah, all sentient beings. So
Yeah.
Gloria, please feel most welcome to conclude and then, sing for us at the end. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like
Thank you.
to thank you all for organize this special event for us to gather here online, and I get a lot of support and inspiration from all of you. Like just now, the Yumma, you mentioned this about gender. You don't feel like
Yeah.
yourself as male or female, this kind of issue, that really inspired me. That reminds me of one of these female, I mean, she's a politician, so I don't want to mention her name. So in one, because the Rinpoche always say, don't touch politics. But actually, she said something when somebody gave her an interview. The question is, how do you work yourself up to this level? Like she's a very like a high level politician as a female, as a lady. And then she say, don't focus on the fact there's a lady or man. Just focus on your work. So that's very inspiring to me. However, like we mentioned this male and female genders to like Sonia say, we want to raise the self-aware from both men and women, that to remind ourselves that we should just focus on what we do instead of focusing on this very strange label differences.
Identities, yeah.
Identities, yeah. And Liz also just now mentioned about always think about our first motivation, our first heart of why we want to practice Dharma. That also very like inspire me so much. Jin, we are in the same position. So, and wow, a CEO, but we're here all together to share this beyond gender event. So I'm so grateful for this organizer and Sister Christie. Thank you for inviting me. So now I want to dedicate this song for all Dakinis here.
Yes.
And of course we have all these Dhaka friends,
Yes.
And this is Tara.
Yes.
Noble Tara songs composed by actually Khenpo Rinpoche. Okay, there are 2 verses, and it's very beautiful. It almost sounds like, how do you say, gospel? Like church
gospel
music. Yeah.
Church music. Gospel.
All right. Actually, I should have I should have sent you guys this.
Later.
We can share this later.
Oh, we are going to have this program available on YouTube. So we can also share that later too. Yes.
All righty. Okay. Tara supplication. Noble Liberator Tara, together with your retinue, please remember your past promises with your pure love, and dispel my fears and all fears of sentient beings, and dispel my fears and all fears of sentient beings. Pacify sickness, harmful spirits, and averse conditions. Make harmonious conditions perfectly abundant, and bestow upon us common and supreme cities, and bestow upon us common and supreme cities. Om Tare Tu Tare Dure Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Dure Soha. Om Tare Du Tare Dure Soha. Om Tare Du Tare Dure Soha.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Gloria. Once again, thank you all
Thank
our
you.
panelists. Thank you. And thank you all our viewers.
Thank you so much.
I really don't want to end this, but time to say goodbye temporarily.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Have a good night, Liz. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. Have a
good
nice
night.
day, Yumma.
Goodbye.
Good
Yeah.
night, sisters there in
Good
Malaysia.
Thank
night.
you. Thank
Good
you,
night,
Christy. Thank you,
everybody.
Sonia.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Nice to meet you. Bye.